It's never very easy for me to do this, but question about my background, yeah, I did a business school, corporate finance, and I did just one position in a bank in M&A in corporate finance, and it was very not what I wanted to do. So I decided to quit. Well, I wasn't really in, but anyway, at 24, 25, and then I told my parents basically, you know, the usual story. I don't want to do this. Why not? Because I don't want to. So they thought I would eventually go back to finance because it made sense. But I never went back. And I never did any film school. So I had to learn everything myself, but I knew I wanted to make videos basically. So I had to learn everything myself. It took me a few years. And then at 27, 28, I discovered the topics I talk about in my channel about NDEs, other dimensions, you know, psychics, out-of-body experiences. And it made sense for me very quickly. At the time, I didn't have a lot of success in what I was doing. You know, I was still trying to figure out how to find jobs in, you know, for corporate videos, you know, some small gigs, as we say in this world. But I wasn't really successful because I didn't have any connection. You know, I'm exactly the kind of guy that doesn't have any, you know, friends or uncles or people like that in the business. So it was a nightmare. So I had nothing to lose when I discovered these topics, and I was so interested that, you know, people were very dismissive in my friends, family, everyone. Like, look at this, look at that, this NDE, this out of body experience, and they say, well, yes, it's usual stuff. It's alive, whatever. We don't care. Crazy people, and but for me, it was really important. It made sense for me.
So you went to school in France, right? You went to Fritz,
Yes.
but then you were feeling called to go to the US, to go to San Francisco. And I
Yes.
would love to talk a little bit more about that.
So I first discovered California when I had to find an internship abroad for my French business school. I managed to find an internship in the Bay Area near San Jose, just close to San Francisco. And I was 21, so I spent 5 months there. It was my first experience of the US and San Francisco and everything, and I really loved it. And then, like a few years after, when I wanted to make videos and I wanted to do this as a living, it was not a good place for me to stay in Paris at the time. And I had so many signs and synchronicities about going back to San Francisco. That was the main thing. And at first, you know, I was very dismissive. I wanted to be rational, as you said, you know, like, well, no, I'm French. I didn't have any working visa, any family, any friend to help me stay there, nothing. So of course I won't go. And again, you have to. I'm not psychic, by the way. I don't hear stuff, you know, I don't hear guides. I don't see things, but I have a very strong intuition, you know, like very strong ideas coming to my mind all the time, and especially at night during dreams. To make things short, I decided finally to go to San Francisco. So I left Paris. I left, like, really left Paris, my apartment, everything.
Wow.
And I said, okay, it was in 2014. I will find a job in my field. I wanted to find a job in, you know, this kind of communication, web content at the time. There were a lot of small or big companies that were looking for profiles like mine, like you can implement a strategy and also create content for the company. And so that's what I wanted to do. And I was saying to myself, well, maybe I find a job like this there. I will make projects for me, like to, and of course it didn't work. Couldn't find any job. I didn't have any working visa, any green card. So I was staying in San Francisco, and of course it was no, it was not a nice experience because I was rejected so many times.
Mm.
But since I had time and I was in San Francisco, I decided to make, I told myself a small documentary about NDEs. So I started, at the time there were very little information on YouTube about NDEs, but I managed to find some people. It's still on my YouTube channel. It's one of the first videos, be on our site. And it was, after that, it was quite successful on YouTube. It was my very, very first documentary in English. After 3 or 4 months, I had to come back to France because I didn't have anything in San Francisco. But that was the first seed for my English YouTube channel. And that's how
amazing.
the Anthony Chene production channel, that maybe people that are listening to us right now, that maybe they know this channel that I
Yes.
have. And that was the beginning of this channel. So it was completely not what I wanted to do at first, because I didn't make any money from this independent documentary on YouTube, of course. But I guess there is something else on the other side that is guiding me and that knew before me that I had to do this. But
Yes.
at the time, I had no idea that that was the path that I would take. Yeah, it's really weird. Even to explain right now, like it's,
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
easy to figure out it's not my thinking, I didn't come up with this plan. It's,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And that's, I love this because I just think we're gonna see more and more people talk about this because this is, I think when people think about like psychics and all that, um, I think they think that you're always going to hear like a voice outside of you, or I think
yes,
but really it's we're getting information and downloads, and we have all these senses outside of the five senses that we're taught. So I think this is happening all the time to us.
yes.
And a lot of times we're talking ourselves out of it in our logical mind. We're saying that doesn't make sense.
I always have a hard time realizing the impact of
Yeah.
the videos I do on people like you or anyone else, because it took me so much time to have an audience, some people
Mm,
watching. Because I used to make like short movies and a lot of things, and like it was nobody was watching. It was I
yeah.
just did it because I wanted to, and it
Yeah.
made me practice what I wanted to do. But so now there are people watching, sometimes a lot, sometimes it depends, but it's
Yeah.
even if I have 1 million people watching, I really I don't realize it at
Yeah.
all. Yeah, I can see that there are comments and there are people, and but it's like a play, And I don't know the impact. I don't know about other people, but at least for me, sometimes it's quite lonely to follow what you have to do,
Mm,
because what if people like I don't know, your family, your partner, your
yes.
friends, what
Yeah.
if some people that you really like, they don't want to support you or to get
Yes.
it or to, it's no, it's not yeah, it's not easy. It's easy to go with the crowd.
Yeah.
It can be lonely to follow your own path. And yeah, no,
Yeah. I couldn't
forgot.
agree more. So I have a question about the people in your first film. Were they in California or were they spread out and you just contacted them while you were in California?
No, the first ones, they were in San Francisco, and then yes, California, because that was where I was staying. I was doing everything myself, so I had to be present. I didn't even have a car or anything in San Francisco, so I have to go by, like, for the psychic that is in my first video. Terry Yoder
Oh,
is a
yes,
psychic in San
yes.
Francisco. I remember like just to talk to him because he didn't understand who I was. I didn't have any YouTube channel. I was
Right.
friends. I was writing him an email to make something. It was so I had to come to his office one day, and I remember there was no bus, so I had to walk like for 45 minutes straight to get to his office, and then come
Wow.
back just to explain that I wanted to make something. And I think even after that, at first, he didn't really get who I was or why I
Wow.
was doing it. But yeah, after that, he was very, very pleased. But it's yeah, it's a journey. It's
Good for
after
you.
that
Wow.
it can be fun to remember it after, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
It's funny
at
to
the
look
time,
back.
it's yeah, it's not really funny. And
No.
even even today, like even like right now today, for me, it's sometimes it's you know, I still don't get it. Uh, you know, what am I supposed to do next?
Yeah. Yeah.
And why do I have to do this in English? And but I think I already have the answers. It's I know that I have to do it, so that's not a problem for me. But I mean, it's an intuition, it's a
Yes.
knowing without
Yes.
knowing, and it's not a rational thinking. It's not.
Right. No, not at
And
all.
so and so it can be very hard to explain that to other
Yes.
people
Yes.
because
Yes.
you don't have anything to explain.
Yes.
So it's people just most of the time people will think that
Crazy.
you fail. Yeah, you're
Yes.
crazy, you
Yes.
fail. You
Yes.
fail.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
will fail
Yes. And
because
you
you are
will fail.
bad.
Yes.
But I
Right.
won't, but
Right,
I don't.
right. That's what it looks like though. That's what I mean. There's so much of of our journeys that look like failures or it looks like a setback, but really
Yes.
it yeah. I want to go into this a little bit more. When you so you get to his office, did you feel like did you want to give up or
I wanted to give up like most of the time. I didn't even want to do
you
this.
didn't want to
Like
even
I want
start it?
no
Yeah.
no I want but no, it's I wanted to do it because it's my true passion. Like if I
Yes.
had all
Yeah.
the money in the world, I will still do this, but with more you know,
Yeah.
more people and everything. So it's
Yeah.
really my life mission. I want to do it, but at the time I wanted to quit like every day because it's like why you know
Yeah.
you're a French guy in San Francisco, like why am I here? I don't even get a job and nobody cares. You know, when you're a guy like that, like without a lot of money, or you know, you're not
Yes.
interesting for anyone. Basically, you could be on the street, like nobody cares.
Yeah.
And uh, and it's funny because after this meeting, I was like a few days after, I remember that I already started to do the first interviews, but I was so down
Mm.
because I was like, I was at the Starbucks, I remember on Market Street, and I was so down. I was like, it was a morning, you know, with the fog in San Francisco, it was foggy, and I was like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I want to, it's enough, is enough. I'm quit, I'm going back to France. And just the table next to me, I always remember it, there were two guys about my age,
Mm.
and they were talking about consciousness,
Oh, wow.
dying, and psychic.
No.
And I stayed there alone, listening to them for maybe a few minutes. It was a long conversation, and I wanted to, like, what's, it was the very topic, the very documentary I was making. I wanted to talk to
Yes.
them, but I couldn't talk. And then after like 5 or 10 minutes, they left. And I remember that I said, oh, there's something, you know, it cannot be
Yes.
by accident. I'm not crazy, there's something. So I went on, and there were many other scenes like that, and uh, various details and things like that that made me, you know, go on and
Yes.
on and on. So
Yes.
it's uh, I also remember after that I went to a building. I didn't know that I was going to talk about my experience in San Francisco, but whatever. There was
Sorry.
I was alone in the street, you know, talking. I just met a guy who didn't understand the topic I wanted to do, so it
Uh-huh.
was a bad meeting. And I was walking in the street alone, and I don't know why, I found a big building, very high.
Uh-huh.
I went into it. I said, well, I took the elevator. I took a level, by chance,
Uh-huh.
one randomly. And when it opened, the whole floor was empty because it was in
Mm.
renovation, but there was no one. And I walked in the level and I went into the corner office and I could see the whole downtown. It was very, very
Hmm.
beautiful. And I had the knowing at that very moment, I had that the knowing that I would be very successful with what I do
Oh,
eventually. Just it
that's
was no,
awesome.
it's kind of silly when I when I talk about it because it's like it's there's nothing, I didn't
There's
meet
nothing
a rich
tangible that,
yeah,
yeah,
I didn't meet a
yeah,
rich guy or
yes,
but
yeah,
it was just this feeling and I said, okay, I it's going to work out.
yeah.
And but I don't know if it makes sense what I'm doing. I'm talking about that with maybe people don't really. I don't know if they will make think I'm crazy or it's
But that's okay. This is
a weird
exactly why we
conversation I'm
need to
having.
talk
But
about it.
yeah,
Because
it's
signs and synchronicities, all that's happening all the time. And it's so easy to dismiss something like that conversation in the coffee shop you overheard, like that changed your life. Your email to me changed my life. Like there are these little moments that can change everything. And that's
yeah,
happening all the time.
yeah, but it's
So
still hard,
yes. Yes.
like why like sometimes I ask like the other side like why you should make it more obvious or be even more helpful, like give me right now like $20
Yeah.
million and that's it, here we go,
Right.
and now we can do like the big things. But it's never like that in life. It's always like you have to trust and you
Yeah.
have to show up in faith and you have to it's like a training, physical training. You
Mm-hmm.
have to train yourself.
Yes.
It's demanding actually, the spiritual stuff. It's demanding. It's not like
Yeah.
nice and a fairy tale. It's very
Right.
demanding.
Yes.
It's demanding because it's a discipline. You have to get back on track. It's demanding with the people around you because
Mm-hmm.
you have to make choices.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and even right now, like for me, I'm talking about my past experience in San Francisco, but it's the same like today. It's very demanding,
Yeah.
very, very demanding. And well, I would really, really love to find some spiritual guides here on Earth. And
Mm.
I would love to be able to ask him a few questions, just a few
Yes.
questions about what I have to do, how, why, like, is there something that I don't get? Like, it would be very helpful because
Yeah.
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 But I think it's the same for a lot of people. A lot of people feel maybe lost or lack meaning. It's
Mm. Mm.
we don't know we don't know who we are. We don't know where we are. We don't
Yeah.
know why we are here. So it's a lot.
Yes. Yeah. I would love to touch on some of this because I feel like when we look around and we see like hieroglyphics and ley lines and structures and pyramids and like we have all of this hard evidence.
Yeah, yes, yeah, it's a very deep the past, I think the past, even our recent past, is not what we think it is.
Yeah.
It's heavily edited, but I don't have all the answers. I'm passionate about that since I've always been like this. I ask every people say, well, Anthony
Curious. Yeah.
is always asking a lot of questions to
Yes.
everyone. When I meet someone at the store or at the restaurant, I ask a lot of questions to everyone. It's basically my
Yes.
job right now on YouTube to ask questions.
Yeah.
So so I'm very curious, and and so yeah, about history, well, you just have to, I think, to look at some buildings like even in the US or in San
Mm-hmm.
Francisco or in
Mm.
the Iowa, Washington.
Yes.
You have a lot of state capitals and
Yes.
very, very big and huge buildings, and they are completely different from the building at the same time, like
Yes.
the cowboys and
Yes.
the small houses, and so
Yes.
there is a big there is a big mismatch, but we don't see it.
Yeah.
It's hidden in plain sight, but we just don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So it means I just think that many generations ago, the people who were living in the US or in France were able to do things that we don't know how to do them anymore, like the
Yes.
buildings, the uh, using the frequencies
Mm-hmm.
and the fifth element, the
Mm-hmm.
ether,
Mm-hmm.
to use the sound vibrations, to use a lot of, and to put this into the architecture, to use it for the a lot of things. But I'm not really an expert on this, so it's I cannot. I'm still search. I'm still, learning. I
Yeah, of
don't know a lot,
course.
but
Yeah.
it's yeah. People will think it's completely disconnected from NDEs and everything
Right.
else, but
When
it's
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 all
not.
related.
Yeah, it's all related because it's
Yes.
who we are. So
Yes.
we cannot not be who we are because it's who we are.
Yes.
So we have to at some point remember it because it's not
Yes.
going to change. We are lost here. We are completely lost. We have the veil of forgetfulness. We forgot who we are, why we came here. We don't know. We don't know anything about ourselves basically. So
Yeah.
it's hard. But there's still this, I will say, this soul, this divine spark
Mm.
within. It's still
Mm-hmm.
here. So
Mm.
if we are looking for a meaning, it means that there is a meaning,
Yes.
because we wouldn't be looking for a meaning if we didn't know
Yeah.
that there was, so of course there is something to look for. I think people want to know more about this, and the same for history. Yeah, it's the it's the same thing. I think there is a growing interest for this kind of
Yes.
topics.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
uh,
It,
and
it
it's
it's
yes.
it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, I think it's always been there, but we are now it's like we're exploring it in different ways.
Today we have uh, there is an awakening of consciousness happening,
Mm-hmm.
and the world we're in is ascending, but it doesn't mean we're going to go into space, or
Right.
it's just means that it's getting easier and easier to access other dimensions and to go through the veil, easier and easier. So that's the true meaning, I think, of this ascending.
Yes.
So there is an awakening, and it's like when the sun is at in the morning, it's you don't see anything at night, and suddenly there is some light, more and more and more light, and you start to see around you.
Mm,
And that's what
yes.
is happening right now. It's
Yes.
the kind of early morning, so people are waking up, and it's the time of waking up we're in, from
Yes.
so people are waking up, and it's going to go faster and faster now, and nothing can change it. It's the time cycle we're in. We're at the end of a
Yes.
big time cycle. Doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It's just the end of a big time cycle and
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of a new one. How it's going to happen or how it's happening right now, I don't know.
Something I've heard you bring up before is Dolores Cannon. I'm a huge
Yes,
fan of hers. Her work was incredible.
yes,
Um, and I mean, it's fun. It's funny because we tend to be really picky about certain words and
about God, you mean, or
well, just like in general. I mean, some people call this like a dreamlike state. Some people call it the matrix.
yes,
People
yes,
call it a simulation. Some people call it a split. Some people like
yeah, whatever, yes,
yeah. And I heard you bring up Dolores Cannon and her predictions of a split happening.
yes,
And
yes.
Yeah, I would just love to hear your thoughts on
Oh,
that.
oh
And
yeah. Oh.
because
Mm.
I think again, I think people someone who maybe just is new to this stuff and they hear the word split, it's so easy, I think, for them to like I think we go to like a very 3D way
Yeah, no, it's
of
not in
thinking.
3D, but it's going to, yeah, it's hard for me to explain that maybe in English and to be, yeah, because yes, I don't think it's in 3D. There is a split
Right.
happening, and the split can take many forms. Uh, I think there are different timelines that are
Mm,
existing for every
yes.
single one of us. We have different futures ahead, and we can pick one or the other. And the future is already here. It's already existing. We just
Yes.
have to pick and to or to attract the one we want. But they are all equally here. So it can mean that like if you want to experience if you have worked on yourself, if you make efforts and everything, I think you can go on another
Yeah.
timeline, and some
Yes.
other people can go on another timeline. Or another way to look at it, maybe it's not happening just this way, but also people are just dying. Like we are not on the same path. Like when we die, because we're all going to leave this plane at some point,
Right.
the split is going to happen at that time for every single one of us. You know, you get to
Hmm.
either reincarnate or not, or I don't know, but it's not going to be the same plane. So
Right.
either way, I don't. It's hard to think when we are not in 3D, you know, because our
Yes.
brain, the thought, the language,
Yes.
like when we are talking right now, it's for the 3D world. So I'm
Right.
trying to think outside this 3D world because it's not only the only world that exists. So, but yes,
Yes.
the split is happening, and it's taking in. It's highly intelligent, you know.
Mm.
I think there is a God or a universe or intelligence, but whatever the word, because when we say God, we think of religion,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
not religion. It's something we cannot. It's not a thing, and we cannot describe it because it's beyond our 3D brain. It's beyond our
Yes.
emotions also.
Yeah. Yes.
God is not. God is not, I don't know, angry
It,
or happy. It's not
yeah.
this way, you know. So it's very
Yes.
hard to talk about something we cannot
Yes.
talk about.
It's
But
funny because when I used to picture God, I would picture like Santa Claus
yeah,
dressed
whatever.
in Jesus's clothes, like sitting on a cloud.
Yeah, a mix. You had a
And
mix of
now
the
when I
both.
think of God, I think of like pictures from the James Webb Space Telescope,
Oh yeah,
where
yeah,
it's just like stardust and
yeah, yeah. I tend to think of yeah a universe or a big white light.
yes,
But
yes,
the problem that I have with thinking about God is that I always think that even if I can talk for days about the oneness and the relationship we
yeah.
all have, the divine spark and everything, when I think about me and God, I always think I don't deserve it at all. You know,
Mm,
it's like, well, you know, like even I can even it's not for me, you know, it's I
yes.
have so many things to change about me. It's like
Mm,
you know, I'm not enough. I'm not. I don't deserve. Yes,
hmm
that's
hmm
the. So yeah,
Lots of people feel that way, I think.
yes,
I think lots of people are it scares them into it's like we don't want to approach God because we're afraid he's going to judge us when that's really that's we all and to your point like a lot of us feel this way. I understand what you're saying is
yes,
my
because
point, but it's not yeah. If we can get
yeah,
around that, if we can get past that or get through that way of thinking, we'll start to really understand the
yes,
true
maybe we're
oneness on a different level. And that comes with chipping away and just experiences and all of that. You know what I mean? I'm starting
yes,
as each day passes, I'm starting to feel that oneness, that singularity more and more and more.
it's Yeah, it's a long journey. Yes, it's maybe we are not used to being loved unconditionally.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we
Yes.
never had that,
Yes.
or at least not me. You know, but
Yes.
I don't think anyone had a real unconditional love because
Hmm.
our parents did their best, or you know, they were
Absolutely. Yeah.
humans.
Yeah.
So brothers, sisters, friends, partners. So we're not used to having something or someone or whatever loving us no matter what. It's and even people, they react very, they are angry in the comments usually when people say, well, God is loving unconditionally, is
Mm.
loving and everything. People say, well, what about people who killed a child? What about these people? How could God or anyone love this? It's a big question. It's a very,
Mhm.
very hard question.
Yeah.
Maybe because we don't understand love, we think it's an emotional
Yes.
relation like we are used to. But I think it's just like we are free
Mm.
to choose in this life whatever we want. If we want to suffer and to be fearful all the time and to suffer and everything, we can, you
Mm-hmm.
know, we
Mm-hmm.
can create that. And
Right.
at some point, we will be bored of suffering all the time, and we will
Yes.
ask for something. And he will, or she, or I don't know how to call God, but it will
Right.
be here.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a very
that's
deep
another thing
topic.
too. I mean,
It's a
there's
deep
all these
interview you're doing.
the semantics makes it hard to talk about things too because like even me like I refer to God as he, and
Yes, but it
that's
doesn't make any
simply
sense.
because it's comfortable, you know what I mean? But
Yes,
it's
but
not when I'm thinking of him, when I picture him, when I feel him, I know that it's not, again, it's not Santa Claus dressed in Jesus's clothes. You know
imagine
what
it's
I
really
mean?
Santa Claus dressed as Jesus. God is really like that. Yeah, like
Right.
you were right all along.
And it's funny because something I've heard you talk about is, I mean, like our reality, like we all come from that singularity, from what God is.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
it's interesting because we are starting to understand that our reality, and really I'm projecting you. You're projecting me.
yes,
So,
yes, yes.
so
Yeah,
then,
at some
then
level,
it's
yes,
like,
of course.
well, when you think about like those bigger questions, like people like shaking their fist at God and saying, "Well, how can this happen when this happens?" And this is when you like my brain starts to hurt just thinking about it because it's like, well, what's actually really taking place and what isn't, and what am I projecting and what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think it's not at the we are projecting this life, but not at a from a conscious mind. It's not
Yeah.
the when
Yes.
we talk about magic and the power of the mind on the reality we experience, it's deeper than the conscious mind and the usual emotions we could have every day.
Yeah.
The creation comes from much from deeper than that, from the real self.
Mm.
And so that's why when we want to access it, we have to work a lot on ourselves. We have to do some stuff like meditation or hypnosis, or, go
Mhm.
deeper, deeper, deeper in the subconscious mind, because that's where we are going to access the real self, the higher self.
Yeah.
And that's the one creating this life, and one part of us is not even here. It's still on the other side. So when it's true that we create this world, but it's not, because people will say, well, I didn't create this and didn't create that. But like, of course, I always complain myself about my own life, like everyone else, because my conscious mind is not creating the problems I have.
Right.
It's from a deeper
Hmm.
subconscious program
Yes.
that come from my parents, my past lives, or whatever. I don't know, but but this is really creating my life and my problems right now,
Mm.
even me or anyone else. But yeah, people usually, we don't want to hear this. We want to blame other people because it's easier and yeah, it's more fun, let's say, to
Yeah.
blame other people. It's yeah, I mean, it's fun to, it's good to blame other people because it's a cheap way to
Right.
solve
Right.
problems, but we don't solve anything eventually. So
Something I've noticed is how like in the moment, if something feels like if I'm frustrated or if it feels or looks like a failure, I'm I've noticed that I am quick to like point the finger at something else or like almost look at it like something is happening to me, like from a victim mentality.
yeah, me too.
But then when you look back, like back at it like later down the road, just like what we were talking about earlier, like it's just funny because it's like I blame other people or outside things when I'm in the situation, and then later down the road when I can see like why I needed to go through that situation or whatever, that it was actually it was for my highest good,
Yeah,
even though it didn't feel like it at the time. I found myself being like, oh, my higher self knew to do that, which is true. But it's like you can't blame other people when it feels hard and then take all the credit
no, because it
when you
hurts
realize it
also.
wasn't a failure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it hurts to,
Yes.
people can hurt us and we can hurt people.
Yes.
So at the moment, of course we do this, but it's
Yeah. Yeah.
the real. Well, I shouldn't maybe talk about this, but I think the real, as you said, there are no other people in the
Yes.
end. There is no, this world is not as we think it is. It's a simulation, illusion, matrix,
Yeah.
Maya, a dream, but whatever the world. But at the end, you're more real than the world you experience.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the people around you, they are not really how you think they are, and
Yeah.
the world is
Yeah.
not really what you think it is, and the real thing is not even your body or your emotions or your thoughts. It's just the real you. You know that you exist, this divine spark,
Yeah.
and the rest is, it's like a cloud in the sky. It's an
Yeah.
experience. It will come to pass. Even now, we forgot almost everything about people who were like 3 generations ago. You know,
Yes.
it's like it's
That's such a good
all
point.
all
Yes.
the details, all the fears, the
Yes.
relationships they had. It's all gone. It's so
Yes.
weird. Like
Yes.
it's like clouds in the sky. So it's
Yeah.
this reality is it's useful, it's meaningful, but it's not you. It's
Yeah.
well, it
Yeah.
is you, but it's not the you. You're one with the thing you experience, and you
Yes.
can interact with it and you can influence it because it is actually you. That's why visualization is working. That's why we talk about oneness. If there is oneness, it's not two-ness. It's oneness. It means there
Mhm.
is not you and the reality. It's just you
Yes.
at some level. But and that's the real enlightenment. At
Yeah.
the end of my the documentary Enlightenment, the last words are, "I am this creation."
Yes.
And for me, that was my real conclusion. The real enlightenment is, I am this creation.
Yes.
But it's
Yes.
not like knowing it like myself right now, intellectually. It's you realizing it. That's
Yes.
the true enlightened masters. It's like
Hmm.
or Jesus or the all the other ones. You can perform miracles. You can. It's like at the end of the movie Matrix. Also, for guys who love Matrix, we always talk about Matrix. So
Always.
at the end, he says no, and
Yeah.
the bullets,
Hmm.
he can command his reality. That's exactly the same idea, and that's the ultimate goal for us,
Yeah.
is remember
And
who we are.
there are moments where it's like you feel like you were saying, like there are some times where you just want like a guide here to be like, this is what you need to do, this is why, blah blah blah, like.
Yeah, yeah,
But then
just
there's
like that.
other times where you don't necessarily need to know the answers. You just feel like intuitively, like,
Yes, yes, that's
and
what I was about
I
to
think
say. Yes.
that's it. It's just like the balance of all of that. What I guess what I'm trying to say is there even really a, I don't want to,
A point.
a point? Yes.
I don't know. It's all here and now, and it's all
Yeah.
about. At the end, it's all about love and to be of service.
Yeah.
That's. It's not very. It's not complicated at
Complicated.
all. And when it's funny because sometimes I have the answer as an idea, like you already know.
Yes.
You already know.
It really does hurt my brain to think about some of this stuff.
Yes, but of course, me too. It's right now, if you ask me about like the usual question, like why am I doing these NDE videos? Why am I doing it in English? Why? Sometimes I just don't know. I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I well, I know, but I don't know. It's strange. It's like
Yes.
I know, but I cannot explain it.
Yeah. Yes.
I
Yes.
just know I have to do it, but
Yes.
I, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah,
I
it's not
hear
very
you.
interesting because I'm very curious about other people, like
Yeah.
like how do they see their own life struggles and
Mm.
even people who had NDEs,
Yes.
they are more kind, more
Mm.
soft, more loving. You can sense that.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have struggles. They are still in
Of
this
course.
life,
Yeah. We're
they
still
are not
human.
an
Yeah.
angel. So
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Oh,
serious. It's
that's
like
too funny. Maybe we just need to swap places because I've been trying to move to like Nice. I'm not kidding. Nice is one of my favorite places in the world.
yes, I've been
And
there
I've been
like
thinking about moving
last
there.
week. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was here
Yeah.
last week. Yeah, it's
So
really.
maybe you just grow out your hair, I'll cut my hair, and we'll just swap passports.
Why do you like Nice? Like
Oh my
you,
gosh. I
most people
mean,
want to go to Paris or
Nice
yes,
just has like a little bit of everything. Like I don't know. It's got the beach. It's got like this quaint city. There's the mountains, right? Like it's got everything. Like
yes.
yeah.
It's very international also. You have
Yes.
Cannes, the
Yes.
festival just after,
Yeah.
and Saint-Tropez, well, it's a little bit for rich people, but you have
Yes.
other towns that are very, very, very nice. It's yeah, the French Riviera, the
Yes.
coast is really, really nice.
It's stunning. Yeah.
And yeah, so it brings back the question when I'm talking about this because I love the south of France, I
Yeah.
really like it. So
Yeah.
and I'm living in Avignon is in the Provence, it's not
Uh-huh.
very far from the coast, and it brings the question all the time, like, then what? Why am I supposed to take interest all the time in English videos in the US and
Mm.
because it's an effort for me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's much better for me and much easier for me to interview
Yeah.
people in France. I also have a bigger YouTube channel in France. I have a lot of people that I can make projects with, and so it's harder to do it in
Yeah.
English, but
Yeah.
it's like it's the beginning of the interview, like you just have to do it
You just
because
have to do
it's
it.
I
Yeah.
just know that I
Yeah.
have to do it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
but yes, I love the place where I'm in right now. It's a very nice place. If people could visit the south of France, you see it's a
It's
beautiful place, and it's
beautiful.
complementary with the US
Yes.
because
Yes.
I love the US, but you have stuff that you have here that you don't have in the US
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa, so
Yes.
it's very complementary.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
I
could do
totally
six
agree.
months and 6 months, for instance, it's
Yes.
the best,
Yes.
it's really good.
Yes. I totally agree. I know this is so random, but I was born in 85 as
When I
well.
was a child, I had this knowing
Yeah.
that I had to be born in 85 because of what was coming for me
Yes.
and for what I wanted to do. And it was a knowing like, yeah, I was supposed to be born in 85. Yeah, it was so obvious. I don't know why. And then when internet came, at the end of the 90s,
Yeah.
I remember I was like 13, 14, and I told myself, yeah, of course it's coming now. Yeah, that's the thing that was supposed to come. There is always this knowing without knowing.
Yes. If you can close us out with just something that really stands out for you, that you think would be cool to share.
I think, yeah, it's strange because if I think about it, I wouldn't take the moments when I had a big success on YouTube
Mm,
or some money, or it wouldn't be or even going to the US or being successful in any way. It would be some moments when I was in nature.
mm,
It could be either in southern France with the sunset, when I'm filming with my camera or a drone, and you can see the
yes.
sunset, and most of the time I'm alone. There's nobody around. It's
Yeah.
so people are all busy in the big cities and doing their lives, and it's like it's so peaceful. And I'm
Yes.
filming the kind of shots you can see in my videos, the sunsets, the nature. And I remember these kind of feelings like in France, also in California, when I
Hmm.
was in front of the ocean, when it's down, just after
Yes.
sunset, and
Yes.
I just did the best shot I wanted to make, and I know it's going to be in my videos, and I can already feel people watching it,
Mm,
and I can, you see the ocean and it's so peaceful. Or
yeah.
when I was in the desert, also in the west, the western states of the
Hmm.
US,
Yeah.
and a sunrise or a sunset, and I was
Yeah.
just after that alone,
Yes.
with the and I can it was at this moment it was so powerful because I could even love like the grass or everything.
Mm,
It was
mm,
Everything was it, and I
yes.
was in the zone, we say.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
was this kind of for my all my professional life and activity. It was these moments.